Hello everyone, and welcome to AustCham Thailand's Business Connections community, an online program where we keep you updated on what's happening in the Australian Thai business community. I'm your host, Brendan Cunningham, the Executive Director at AustCham. Coming up in this episode, we get an update on the regulatory Guillotine project. We meet an Australian icon company, and we venture south to see what's happening with the good people at Phuket has been good to us. Stay with us. And welcome back. In our business section today, we welcome Khun Tanva Mahitivanichcha, a director on the AustCham board and partner at Grant Thornton. He's here today to update us on the regulatory Guillotine. Khun Tanva, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you, Brendan.
Excellent. So the RG, as we'll call it, I've also seen it called the Smart and Simple Licence in some media. It was big a few years ago. It's now back on our radar. Can you start by telling us exactly what the regulatory Guillotine is?
Sure, Brendan. So the regulatory Guillotine actually was an initiative started by the government in 2017. At that time, there was a call by the government to review the competitiveness of Thailand in the global scene. So there was a sense of urgency that the government created a committee to bring together a group of experts to see how Thailand can reduce its red tapes, bureaucratic red tapes, and improve the country's competitiveness index. As a part of that, the government reviewed models that were done by countries like Korea or Vietnam with a degree of success, which also underwent a regulatory Guillotine procedure. We have also taken into account OECD best practices in conducting that review. So what happened is the government engaged the TDRI, which is a research arm of the Thai government, to conduct a comprehensive review and to propose measures, identify regulations that are obsolete or requiring amendments or new laws that may have to be drafted to improve the overall competitiveness of the country. Now, that particular study was actually completed, and the mandate for that particular committee henceforth was done.
Okay. So during that time, I believe that was when I saw it had a lot of momentum. I was attending a lot of lunches myself and events myself on updates about this, and then it seemed to be put on the back burner. Was that correct? Even if it wasn't, it seemed as though.
Right. So essentially, the TDI took some time to conduct a study. Actually, they mapped out over 1,000 regulations and procedures across a cross-section of the Thai government. And when that was done, the report was sent back to the government for inspection and review. And that's where it kind of tapered off. And now the government has, since the late 2020, has formed a new committee tasked with implementing the recommendations of the TDRI.
Excellent. So you sit on one of those committees representing the Foreign Chamber Alliance, FCA, which is, of course, AustCham, AmCham, the British Chamber of Commerce Thailand, and German Thai Chamber of Commerce. You're our FCA representative on those committees. Can you tell us what the committee does and your specific role?
Yes. So actually, the committee is hosted under the purview of the Strategic Office. The Strategic Transformation Office of the Thai government. And there is a main committee whereby I believe there's around 9 subcommittees, one of which I am a member of. That particular subcommittee that I'm on is tasked with reviewing regulations specifically for economic regulations. So there are other committees that, for example, looks after digital transformation, one dealing with the pandemic specifically, reducing red tape. and also one that looks after matters concerning the Constitution. For my particular subcommittee, it's headed by Dr. Gopsak, the former Deputy Prime Minister, and also a very well-seasoned economist. Yes.
Great. You've attended, I believe, 7 or 8 meetings now?
Yes, since late 2020 to date, we have a total of 9 meetings. 9. The latest one was last Friday, yes.
And it, from your notes that we share, of course, with the FCA groups, it seems like there is progress being made with the proposed cutting and changes to different laws.
Yes. So actually, we went through a list. So the TDRI would have compiled a list of all the laws and regulations. So we have identified the specific regulations that we would want to work on and address. So part of the committee's meeting is that we would invite the counterpart government officers relating to each specific regulation that we are looking after, for them to take their comments, also from members of the private sector, whereby then we would review the TDI's recommendation as a reality check against all the private sector and public sector's comments before passing our final recommendation to the government. I must say that our recommendation of the entire committee goes before the cabinet and direct to the Prime Minister.
Great. So what do you think the future holds for the regulatory guillotine? Do you see, we know that you mentioned Korea, it was modelled on Korea as an example, and it was very successful there from what I understand. Do we see the same outlook in Thailand?
Well, we strive towards it in the committee, definitely. Even to date, there have been progresses. The government might not have been providing very frequent updates to members of the public, but we have delivered and finalized quite a number of recommendations to the government, and some of them have already been implemented. For instance, for the private sector, there's a lot of concerns, for instance, work permits and visas for expatriates. That's one of the key issues that we are tackling with. That has been identified since the first meeting of the committee. It has been vetted through, sent back to the government for review, and we have discussed it again just this last Friday. So everything's in the pipeline. There are other matters that we talked about, for instance, improving banking regulations to enhance foreign access to capital and credits in Thailand. That's part of the pipeline as well. So overall, the working committee is quite aggressive, and there is a very strong mentality towards getting this towards a successful project.
Good. So I can update the audience that we will work with our FCA colleagues on providing a deeper update as well. Now that we are seeing physical events come back, perhaps a nice lunch where everyone comes together and we can update on the progress of the regulatory guillotine. So
yes.
Thank you for coming in. Always a pleasure to see you.
Thank you, Brandon. Always a pleasure.
Great. So thank you to Khun Tanva, a director on the AustCham board and partner at Grand Thornton. Coming up next, our connection section. Stay with us.
I'm Marcus Blackmore, and Blackmores is a name you can trust.
And welcome back. In our connection section today, we meet what I would call an Australian icon, been in Thailand for many years and very well known to the AustCham membership base. I'm of course talking about Blackmores, and we have the country manager for Thailand, Khun Pussadee Suchitchon. Khun Pussadee, how are you?
Hi, Bram. Thank you. I'm fine, thank you. Thank you for inviting me to join this session.
Always a pleasure. So I mentioned at the beginning, of course, Blackmores is a very famous company in Australia and a famous company within the AustCham Thailand membership base in Thailand in general. But for those who don't know the deeper details, can you tell us a bit more about Blackmores? When were you established, size of the company, etc.?
Okay, yes, Blackmore is a very original Australian company, and actually this year we are celebrating the 90 years old of Blackmore, worldwide. And in Thailand, it is a very first market for Blackmore outside Australia. So actually, officially, we are in Thailand for almost 30 years already. But I know that, actually longer than that, because even before we established the entity here, Thai people already know Blackmore very well. And so we can say that we have been with the Thai community for a long time. Yeah.
Excellent. Now, the past 18 months has been difficult for all companies. How has the impact of COVID-19 affected Blackmores in Thailand?
Yes, indeed, it's really, the new normal, right? And actually, it's impact, for all the business here. But in Thailand, since we have more than 230 staff with our organization here, so it really, impact to the organization and people that, we have. And of course, with our customer, we do have over 4,000 distribution nationwide. So we do have the strategic partner, the customer, like pharmacy, drugstore, and supermarket also. So yeah, it's really something that it has changed the way that we work. That we also need to make ourselves adjust the strategy and the way that we work in last almost 2 years already. That we are living with the COVID here. So in fact, I think that the COVID have not just only change the way that we work, but the way that we take care of our staff and operate our business here also. So I'm talking about the people first, which is our staff, which is very important. People is always very important for Blackmores. So we take we concern about safety and health and wellness of our people. So I remember that when the COVID was just happening in Thailand, and we do have set up our committee how we are going to handle this kind of situation. And we put the safety and healthy as a first thing, So during that time, if you back to last, 24 months, you can imagine at that time that the mask, the alcohol gel is very, difficult to find and even, very expensive. So remember that we also, set up a workshop here in our office, and then they'll make the alcohol gel, by ourselves, so that we can supply it to all the staff that have here. We also providing all the hygiene things like mask, alcohol gel and those kind of things. Then the COVID that we first thought that it's going to be temporary and then it's gone, right? Then we going back to be the normal, but it's not, right? It's going to have a second wave, third wave, fourth wave, and I don't know that it continue to have the fifth, the sixth or not, right? But it does, make us rethink about how we are going to operate and lead our organization. So currently, we also providing many things to support of our people, because we do have the staff that work in the office and the staff that work outside, in the field, like the sales rep or the product advisor. So we provide the survival kit, we call here the survival kit, that put a lot of stuff that the staff can be feel safe. So the vitamin, of course, and also some of the thermometer for themselves to measure their temperature, the oximeter that making measure the oxygen, and also some of the herb and product that could help them, even the sanitized products that it can use for themselves also. So we provide and prepare the survival kit for our staff. We do recently when we have the ATK, the antigen test kits, We also provide to our staff also, so they can, test for themselves when they not feel sure that they are, infected by the COVID or not. And particularly, many of our staff who work in the pharmacy is also required that they need to test themselves like weekly or every month to show that they are safe from the COVID. Then they can perform the duty in the store. So that is from our staff. But then for the another thing is also that the working from home. I'm sure that most of the organization in Thailand is have to implement that one. Before that, actually Blackmores have the flex work that allow the staff to have kind of flexi out or flexi work. But in Thailand and many countries in Asia, we thought that it probably impossible to implement. But when the COVID comes, everything is possible. So we implement working from home for almost 2 years also now. And currently we still keep the distancing. So in the office, we try to keep about like 20-30% of our staff per day. So then people will not be, so many people in the office at the same time. If talking about the business, the COVID is also, kind of like helping Blackmores because we are, selling the vitamin and supplement, and the vitamin C and immunity product is selling very well during this time because people like kind of want to ensure that they have immunity enough to protect themselves. So our business in last year is doing very well. We're growing more than 15%. It is, I noting that, it's not easy for the, the company or the business during this time, but we can make it, it's very good. We one of the market for Blackmores that is very excellent performance last year. So I'm very pleased with the result also. But the most importantly is like, we save our employee. We also work closely with our customer like pharmacy, to ensure that they get the knowledge about immunity during the time. They know how to take care the patient, and we support them in whatever that can help them to perform the work. Because like in the pharmacy, if you can observe in the market when the country locked down, some of the pharmacy have to be shut down also because they cannot open, right? So we work with them in terms of like call and what is like something that they call to the pharmacy, and then we can send the messenger to pick up the product and deliver at home. So we change the way that how we can support our customer in Thailand, so then they can still save their customer and they can still get the business in each month. More on that one, we educate the pharmacists that I mentioned, and for the consumer we also get a lot of call from the consumer asking about how they can take care of themselves. Is this product good for them or for the kid or not? So we have like advisory teams that can answering the call to the consumer, and we provide a lot of education to them. And 2 times that we partner with you also, Brendan, we have the Blackmores Institute expert talking about the immunity in the viral world. And the recent one we're talking about mental well-being. It is something that very important during the COVID, that people kind of like very stressful, So so we do a lot to adapt our way of work and supporting the community, the consumer, the customer, and our staff.
Excellent. So everything you said really fits in line with all the conversations we've had over the past 5 years since I joined AustCham. I know from our very first meeting right up until today, it's always been Blackmores isn't just about selling vitamins. Blackmores is about promoting health and well-being for the community. So when it was really required, when COVID hit and we all became so much more health conscious, Blackmores was really on the front foot, not only for the community, but very importantly for your staff, where a lot of companies maybe weren't ready for it. It sounds like Blackmores was, which is great. And your support really has continued. You mentioned the survival kits for your own team. It's worth mentioning to the audience. Everyone knows our care package program that we've been running. Blackmores, of course, donated 1,200 bottles of vitamin C to go to those communities that needed it, which was fantastic. And just recently, another 90,000 baht donation, which is another 90 care boxes for those communities to be packed soon. So that's amazing. And I believe that was part of a bigger picture of fundraising for Blackmores. Can you tell us a little about that?
Yes, that's right, Brendan. Because actually that when the COVID hit Thailand, and we see a lot of suffering of the people, right? Particularly the people who are don't have access to the normal thing that they should have. And the case have been escalated, more and more. We what hit one time is like over 30,000 cases per day. So we feeling that Blackmore can do whatever that we can support the community. So before I go to the AustCham, COVID Care Pack program, actually we do support with like the provincial, health provincial office, like in Chiang Mai, in Samut Sakhon, which is at that time the case is very scary. And then we provide our product to those office, so they can give it to the patient or to the people who have to be self-quarantined in those province in the field hospitals. Okay, and then one day when I got the email from you that telling me that okay, AustCham is have the program that we want to support the people who have a quarantine. And they have, limited access also. Will Blackmore want to join that? And I don't have, even a second to answer. Yes, we will do that. Okay.
Very quick.
And yes, we do support the thing that, the first hand is our products that we know that the vitamin C is very important, for the immunity. So don't hesitate to supply that, to the AustCham to be part of the COVID care packs. Okay. And then I was talking this to our CEO in Australia and telling them that the case in Thailand is still worried, and the people is quite suffering. At that time, even the hospital or the medical supply and medical, product is very limited, right? So I told him about, the program that the AustCham is doing. And he said that, oh, that's a great idea. Okay. Then the company have set up what we call like, the fundraising, program. We use the GoFundMe as a website, which is, people can donate, the cash to that website. And then the company is matching the number, okay? Whatever that, the employee donate, then the company put up the number also. And also provide some of another donation that on top of that one. So totally we have quite a big, fundraising that we have. But then we have designed a program that the supporting will not go to Thailand only, because they also have, many markets in the region that also suffering with the COVID also. So we divided that fund to be 5 countries. The first one is Malaysia, which is also very serious that time, and Indonesia, which is the most serious, case in our regions. The third one is India, which you can imagine that India is very, a big problem, before they can control it quite well now. And then Australia itself, they also have some, even though the case is not much like us, but they also some kind of like concerning. And then the last market is Thailand. So we put that fund, and allocate it proportionally, into the 5, country that I mentioned. And for Thailand, we got about 90,000. Actually we have more than that one, but we divided to be two organizations that we are going to support. So 90,000 go to AustCham to be part of the COVID care pack. That we think beside the vitamin that product that we donate to you, but the cash could also allow you to buy some other stuff that to put in the box that to give to the patient. And then another part of that fund we donate to the Mahitivanichcha Foundation. With they also need the cash that they can buy, like the medical equipment, the PPE that the healthcare will need to put on when they take care of the patient. So we have divided that 2 portions, and then yes, and then part of that is for the AustCham COVID care pack.
We certainly appreciate the donation. We also appreciate that others are being helped as well. I think a lot of people in the community are doing great things to try to help those in need. So I know on behalf of AustCham, as I mentioned, we really appreciate it, and we love seeing Blackmores, a great Australian company, helping the wider community as well. So that's all wonderful. What about 2022? Is it looking better for Blackmores? How do you see the outlook for next year?
It's coming, no? It's very not too long. It's about 2 months, and then we going to the 2022 already. So yes, we see a lot of improvement in the COVID right now. The government, I think, doing a good job. Okay, that helping the country. And now today we also see that the government is opening up the country, right? That will help to boost the economy. So the plan for the 2022 is still pretty much that put the consumer as a heart of our business. So we are looking beyond the traditional things. We set up the projects that we call the cultural customization, because imagine that Blackmore is is a global company now. So we are playing in many markets. And then the need of the health supplement is a lot, but they do certain, cultural need that different. For example, like halal, okay, for the Muslim consumer that they want to take the vitamin, but they also want to ensure that the product is a halal certification, or even, vegetarian, that people want something that I cannot take something that have animal, something like that. So this is a big project for us, and I'm glad to tell you that right now the product of Blackmore in Thailand, we already have the halal certificate.
Oh, great!
So we working with the Muslim Central of community in Thailand, and they do some kind of like audit and checking everything, and then we give the license. So it means that our product is also suitable for the Muslim people here in Thailand, or the people who really want, the halal certified products. Okay, and coming, in the next year, we are have a couple of NPD, the new products that will be vegetarian or vegan. Okay, so like fish oil. Okay, which is something that I know that is one of the popular products for many family. But for the family who are vegan, they don't want to take fish oil because come from the fish, right? So we have the fish oil that not come from the fish. So it's going to be the omega vegan. So it comes from a plant. So but it has the same quality of the omega-3. So this kind of thing that we want to focus on the consumer, so they ensure that no matter that you are in whatever region or religious or culture, you can have a good health, and Blackmore can support that one. Next year is also going to be another marketing campaign that we recently launched in Australia with the theme that good health change everything. Okay, and that is something that is from the consumer research that no matter who you are, what you are doing, if you have good health, then everything is possible for you, right? So the good health change everything will be the big campaign for Blackmore in next year also, that we are going to inspire the consumer around the world and in Thailand also, to ensure that you take care your health, you own it, and you take accountability in your health.
That sounds great, because I know people, everyone I speak to, we're just so much more health conscious these days. Even if I thought I was health conscious before, COVID has really changed the mindset for us to really put health as the most important thing in our lives. So great that Blackmores will be supporting that. Can I ask one last question? Will we see Run and Move back in 2022?
Yes, I'm going to tell more also that, it's not just only that, taking Blackmore products or supplement, but lifestyle and the way that, you exercise, the way that you live is also very important. So Blackmore is also encourage people, to take ownership of your health, right? And then promote something that to have the healthy lifestyle. So yes, Run and Move will come back, I'm sure. Okay, and actually this year, since we cannot, have physical running, like what we have, so we organize what we call the virtual running. Okay, so we have the virtual running of the Sydney, the Blackmores Sydney Marathon, running. We also have internally in our organization, the virtual move also, because our staff is, working from home, and sometimes they just sit, in front of the computer for so long, right? And they don't, get out, out of home much. So we create a campaign that, move beyond all limit. And we have them to send, the kilometer or the activity that they did every day. And then it's a 4-month campaign. It will be in by the end of November. And then we select the one that, make the highest score. So this kind of thing is also, a campaign that Blackmores is always realize that, it's not just only supplement, but it's the holistic, way that you are going to take care of yourself. So yes, Brendan, Run and Move will come back. Okay, and I'm sure that you will be, one of our, active participants in that event.
I'll be the first one there as usual. Khun Pussadee, thank you so much. Always good to catch up with you. Thank you again, a very long-term supporter of AustCham, and as mentioned during this interview, great to see Blackmores on the front foot promoting health to the whole community.
Thank you so much for AustCham. Thank you, Brendan, and thank you for the member of AustCham also that supporting for the Blackmores. Thank you so much, and stay safe and well.
Thank you. Khun Pussadee Suchitchon, Country Manager Thailand at Blackmores. Coming up next, our community section. Stay with us. Welcome back. In our community section today, we welcome what I would call a celebrity down on the island of Phuket. She is chairman of the Phuket Has Been Good to Us and executive manager and marketing director at the famous Baan restaurant in Phuket. I am, of course, talking about Sue Ultmann. Sue, how are you?
I'm doing very well, thanks, Brendan, and thank you for that lovely introduction.
My pleasure. I'm sure that's how everyone knows you down there. Sue, thanks for joining us. We are talking about our community section and our CSR causes we support. One of the supported causes is, of course, Phuket Has Been Good to Us. And I know everyone in Phuket knows the organisation, but for everyone else in Thailand and indeed our global audience, can you give us a quick background into it?
I'll try and make it quick. So after the Asian tsunami in 2004, there was a lot of damage done on the coast, and there were 2 major schools, which weren't very big buildings in those days, but they were destroyed. When they were rebuilt, we found out that virtually no English was being taught in these schools because they're government schools and they are the lower end, very poor communities. We had actually, Baan had actually always supported the schools with food and things over the years. And my late boss, Tom McNamara, he decided that we should start a charity and put English language teaching into the schools for free. And that's what we've done ever since. We set up a charity, which is a government registered charity. And we have been teaching English for free now to a couple of the schools, and it's always gone very, very well. And over the years, it's just grown and become more successful, and more kids have had the opportunity of learning English that wouldn't have had the opportunity before.
It's very important, of course, in a place like Phuket as well, which is certainly a very international destination. So, like all organisations around the world, definitely in Thailand, COVID-19 has had a severe impact. Can you tell us about the impact on Phuket's Been Good to Us?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's wreaked havoc on every industry here, and certainly with Phuket Has Been Good to Us because we run on raising money to run the charity because we have to have fully qualified teachers. We don't use TEFL teachers, we have fully qualified teachers. And we do fundraisers. We have different people giving us donations. Well, of course, we haven't been able to do any of that. And we've had to cut the number of teachers back as we've crawled through this. We now have 3 full-time teachers, plus we have 2 volunteer teachers who are from the Princess Songkhla University. So we're still going strong. And during the time when there's been no school, we have actually managed to do online teaching, and kids have managed to get access to computers, some of them together in villages and things. And we've got to about 70% of our students during that time, which has been amazing.
That is, it's been challenging for all schools and education institutes, so that it really is an amazing effort for a charity organisation. Now, AustCham came on board, I think, 2019 with support and have been supporting for a couple of years now. Can you tell us about the support AustCham gives, and indeed the wider Australian community, how they help as well?
Yeah, well, AustCham really have been great. I mean, Baan has been a member of AustCham now for several years, and AustCham sort of came to us a couple of years ago, and we were given a wonderful donation from AustCham. And in fact, even this year, in March of this year, we were given another donation of 50,000 baht. And what this has done is support one of our classes, as have the other donations. What we try and do is to get people or businesses to support either a teacher or a class, and this really, you know, is how we operate. We teach children aged between 6 and 13 in grades from 1 to 6. And currently we're teaching around 200 children, and they're learning English, plus they're learning maths and science, but in English. So this is something that is really great for them. It's giving them the opportunity that they wouldn't get. AustCham has really, you know, just been a great asset to us. As the Australian consulate, the DFAT has also, we've had 2 different donations from them over the last couple of years. And then we have some of the businesses. Lynn Fox has helped with us. We've had, you know, of course, our dear ML, she's always supported us. But Matt Barkley has been really good since he came on board with the Australian consulate, as was Craig before. Without people like that, without businesses coming on. We've also had the minor group. One of the things we do for our kids is we have 250 children that live at one of the schools. They are either orphans or their parents can't take care of them. After the tsunami, there was 124, and you would think that the number would have decreased over the years, but no, unfortunately, times have got tougher and tougher for people in a lot of areas. So there's now 250 kids, and we offer those kids an after school and weekend program when we can, now that hopefully COVID is over, and that we have birthday parties for them every 3 months, and we do things like that. Minor group is supplied pizzas and things. So, you know, we really have had some wonderful people on board over the years, but we're desperate now. We're financially desperate. We have to pay, as I said, our teachers, we have to pay them salaries. Now, these are not salaries like international schools get, so please don't think that for a minute. They're like local schools get. Our teachers also have to work in the after school and weekend program. We have to have visas and work permits, plus we have to have all of the different equipment we need for teaching.
Well, how can AustCham members support that? Obviously there's the cash support, and I believe you have tiers of sponsorship and other ways through giving their time, etc.
Well, there's several ways. I mean, there's a simple way. You can sponsor a child, which would be one of the kids that's in the dormitory situation, and these kids change that, and that's 10,000 baht a year. So that really is not very much money. You can also sponsor a class, which is what AustCham has been doing. And we will let you know the class. Now, for instance, AustCham have been doing one of our classes now for the last couple of years, I think. And it ranges from 200,000 baht down, depending on whether you're going to do the full English, maths, science. And then every quarter you get a full report on the class from the teacher and how the students are going, how the CS program is going. And yeah, you can also sponsor a teacher, and sponsoring a teacher is around 450,000 baht a year. And that is to cover every expense, including the salary for that teacher for a year.
Right.
So there's lots of ways from really just, you can just make a cash donation. Plus, if people who are out there in business, if they have different supplies and things that they can give us for school education, we need English books. We always need, you know, sort of the general things for teaching. Yeah, I mean, there's heaps of ways that people can help us. Plus, of course, business when we do fundraisers, we're always looking for raffle prizes and, you know, because we do some amazing events when we can, and hopefully that'll be very soon that we'll be able to do it again.
Agreed, yes. So if anyone would like to donate either through cash, as Sue mentioned, or anything you have that's worthwhile giving to a school, contact me. You can contact our CSR committee and we can certainly connect you through to Phuket Has Been Good to Us. What about plans for the future, Sue?
Well, of course, at the end, the schools are on holidays at the moment, and the teachers are just delighted that at the end of this month, they're going back, and on the 1st of November, schools will start again, kids will be back in the classroom, and hopefully everything will run smoothly. We will hope to, early next year, start running some fundraising events, and our idea is to get back to employing more teachers, teach more children. We're limited to the number of children we can teach at the moment. As I said, we have 3 full-time teachers and 2, they're not qualified teachers, they're actually student teachers from Princess Songkla, but they're managing to teach 200 children, which is a lot. But we would like to get back up, and we were teaching in high school or, you know, Matim, but that had to be put on hold because, yeah, finances. So it really all does come down to finances, donations, and support from the community.
Great. So once again, you can contact us through AustCham, or we're holding events in Phuket over the next couple of months, and I'm sure Sue and the team will always be there, so I can make those introductions coming down to the Phuket Sundowners as well. Sue, always a pleasure.
Thank you, Brendan. Thank you very much for letting me talk about Phuket Has Been Good to Us. If anyone's interested, we have a website, and it is www.phukethasbeengoodtous.org.
And we'll flash that up on the screen right now as well. Thanks, Sue. I'll see you soon.
I'll see you very soon, I hope.
Sue Ultmann, Chairperson of Phuket Has Been Good to Us and Executive Manager and Marketing Director at Baan Restaurant. And that's it for today. We hope you enjoyed the program and we look forward to seeing you next time. Take care of yourselves.